Thank you very much, Virginia. Let's go back to our major story this morning. The Prime Minister's meeting with gas companies over the looming energy crisis. Of course, yesterday, South Australia unveiled its own plan to take control of the state's energy network. Here's part of Premier Jay Weatherall's announcement in which he was very critical of the national electricity system.
We have a national electricity market which is failing not only South Australia but failing the nation. This extraordinary state of affairs where our abundant solar, wind and gas resources leads this nation into an energy crisis. This is a totally unacceptable state of affairs. That is why South Australia needs to step up and take control of its energy future.
The South Australian Premier there, the Federal Energy and Environment Minister Josh Frydenberg joins us now in the studio. Minister, good morning to you.
Nice to be with you.
What's wrong with South Australia, or for that matter any state, securing its own energy supplies?
Well, about 20 years ago, the states came together and the Commonwealth in creating a national electricity market. And it was premised on the two foundation policies, getting the lowest cost energy to households, while also ensuring a secure and stable system. And last year, a day after the blackout in South Australia, the Energy Minister for South Australia, Tom Koutsantonis, went into the Parliament and said that they were proud of the national electricity market, which they had helped design, and that it had served South Australians well and was working well. Now we have a situation where the South Australian government, belatedly I have to say, recognises that there are real challenges posed by the high reliance on intermittent sources of power, namely wind and solar, and is now going it alone. And what I'm concerned about is retaliation by other states, because it breaks that model that has served Australia for the last 2 decades.
But there are at least two other blackouts after that major blackout you talked about, where the national electricity system let the people of South Australia down.
Well, there's an inherent structural challenge that we're seeing as a rise of more renewables into the system. Because when the wind doesn't blow and the sun doesn't shine, the storage capacity is still not developed yet. I hope it will be over time to stabilise the system. And what we've seen in South Australia is a heavy reliance on brown coal-fired power from Victoria coming across on the interconnector.
A very thin line, that's the South Australians' argument.
A thin line, but it's still critical for South Australia's security. And then we've also seen other challenges that are posed in South Australia. Now, we have commissioned Australia's chief scientist, Alan Finkel, to undertake this review. It would have been better for the South Australians to remain at the table while this review completes its course, and because I'm sure Alan Finkel and his expert team will have a number of important recommendations for us to take into consideration for implementation across the country.
South Australia is moving to provide that extra storage. Among the plan is the building of the largest battery storage plant in South Australia, and also encouraging gas exploration by offering farmers a 10% cut of any gas found on their land. Do you like both of those measures?
I do. And both of those measures the Commonwealth has been leading and advocating for. In relation to storage, it's absolutely critical. We're actually seeing battery prices halve every 5 years and double in capacity in that same period. So the Prime Minister has talked often about pumped hydro storage, and this is responsible for 97% of storage when it comes to renewables. We've actually identified a new site in South Australia to provide security there. We've spent more than $200 million through the CFC and ARENA and other Commonwealth bodies. When it comes to incentivising landowners to develop the gas facilities or gas reserves on their land, this is a welcome initiative. This is an important initiative because it's the states, not the Commonwealth, who are taking the royalties. OK, let's switch to the big meeting today between you, the Prime Minister, and the gas company CEOs. When this issue comes up time and time again, a lot of our viewers are bemused, indeed angry, that so much of our gas produced here in Australia is exported, causing gas shortages and high gas prices. How do we turn that around? Well, this is a very important issue because on the east coast of Australia, we've only been exporting these LNG since 2014. And 2/3 of what we produce is now going for export.
Is that too much?
Well, this is an issue which was entered into, and these contracts were entered into at a time of very high oil prices, over $100 a barrel, now they're around $50 a barrel. And the companies had made their predictions and their contracts on the expectation that they would develop more gas. Since that time, we've had moratoria put in place by various states and territories to develop that to ban the development of that unconventional gas, so there's not as much gas around. So what we'll be saying to the companies today in no uncertain terms, that we are looking for an industry-led response to get more gas into the domestic market, because the Australian Energy Market Operator has told us that we will have shortages from 2018-19.
Okay, just about out of time, but finally, it's a very big day here on Breakfast. Both PK, he's shaving his head, Virginia's colouring her hair to raise money for leukaemia research. Will you stump up a donation, Minister?
I'm there. Consider it done.
Excellent. Good stuff. Thanks for joining us, and we, all of Australia, hopes that meeting turns out with positive outcomes today.
Absolutely. We're all on the look. We're all in this together. The Commonwealth is leading the charge, but we need to get more gas for the domestic market.
Hope it's a gas. Okay, Josh Frydenberg, thanks very much for that.